Wow, we're live. Okay. We are live. We are live again on this beautiful Tuesday, or whatever today is for you watching. Dr. Benton here. I help people live long and well because I believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. Thank you for joining me and my guest, a repeat guest, Dr. Katrina Couture. I said it right, right?
Sure, you made us sound fancy.
Oh, Dr. Katrina. We were yapping before. I should have confirmed that, but that's okay. We're
No,
here.
no, no, you did great.
All
You
right.
did great.
Thank you. Thank you. So today we're talking about your gut is talking, but are you listening? And if you are watching live, hashtag live, watching replay, hashtag replay, we will be taking questions live. So come ready. Come ready to ask questions. It is your gut, and your gut is talking to you. Well, sometimes it talks to us as your doctors, but yeah, when we listen. But I am delighted to have on my friend. She's amazing. She's cool. Got to meet her in person not too long ago, and her energy is I don't know how to say it. Is so that's the best I can do today. But it's Dr. Katrina, and she's going to be talking to us today about how to listen better to our gut. Now, she's a physician, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a regenerative rancher, she's a content creator, and she's a public health educator. She's internal medicine and infectious disease. And she's done a lot of stuff. I'm going to let her introduce herself because I'm already talking too much. So, Dr. Katrina, can you introduce yourself to our viewers who may not have watched you the first time you were on? Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do the things that you do, Doc?
Well, thank you. That was such a generous introduction, and I'm really excited to be here again. I feel so honored to be invited back. I didn't screw up too bad the first time, so I got a re-invite. I am an infectious disease physician. I've been in practice for about 10 years now as an infectious disease doctor, and I would say over time, my view of how I treat infections has really kind of evolved. It started out as, okay, you have this infection and you get this antibiotic. And it's really started to change, especially since I became a regenerative rancher, because I became the owner of a large piece of property that I had to figure out what to do with, and I'd never done that before. So I started to think of it like a human body. And um, dove deep into soil regeneration and nourishing the microbes in the soil. And then I really started to think of the human body as more like a big piece of land because there were so many similarities between what is happening to our agricultural lands and to our microbiome or our intestines, our good bacteria and fungi. And so now I really try to take an approach where I'm really thoughtful about the good bacteria and viruses and fungi that live in us and on us, and trying to maintain that and nourish that while helping somebody fight an infection and get their system back into balance.
Wow. I've never heard about that. Regenerative rancher. That's okay. I'll talk more about that offline, but that's really cool. I thought you were cool before, but now you're actually cooler. So let's talk about the communication between our gut and, like, when we say your gut is talking, how does that connect to our physical health? Like, what does that mean to you, Doc?
So as we've learned more and more about what lives in our intestines, and it's a lot more cells than live in our actual body. So we have a lot of I don't want to say foreign invaders. They're not. We'll say friendly critters that exist on us. We've learned that they actually control pretty much almost all of our body functions. And so when our gut is talking to us, it's meaning that it's telling us if something is not working well, that maybe the place we need to be looking at, the common problem might be all stemming from a dysregulated intestinal microbiome.
Hmm. Okay, so sometimes when we feel off, it could be our gut trying to tell us something. So a big part, you said a lot of microbiome stay in the gut. So a lot of bacteria, right, they sit in our gut. And so when that's off balance, it could affect our overall health. And sometimes the gut is trying to give us clues. Okay. But what are common signs? I talked a little bit about the bloating. Or,
So it might be something like bloating or discomfort or excessive constipation or excessive gas, or just irregular bowel movements. I talk to a lot of people that kind of swing from one end to the other. So it's diarrhea, it's constipation, it's diarrhea, it's constipation. But it might be a lot more subtle than that. So it might just be certain times of day, I just don't feel well. I have no energy. And one might notice that those certain times of day seem to occur after meals. So you eat lunch, you're feeling pretty good, you go to lunch, and then half an hour later, you feel incredibly sluggish and just kind of off and like you're in a brain fog. Or it might be something like skin problems, like you have eczema or psoriasis or psoriasis or rosacea. So it might be kind of skin manifestations that don't make sense, or rashes that are kind of coming up that don't really have an explanation. Or I see a lot of allergies specifically to antibiotics, but those are coming from a dysregulation in the GI tract.
Okay. All right. Thank you. A lot of symptoms, some of which I didn't think about before. Now, what about someone who's watching, who's like, oh, yeah, I guess some of that I feel bloated, a little gassy after I eat a lot of vegetables. I get that a lot. Like, yeah, doc,
Yeah.
I stopped eating veggies. It was too much. My stomach felt a little off. Do you have any comeback for that?
That is expected. And as we eat more fiber, we are going to have more gas. And so it's really kind of a trick to find out what fiber can you eat that doesn't have that effect, or what can you combine it with. So I find that if I combine fiber and protein together, that I don't have nearly the bloating and the gassy side effects as when I just eat kind of a big amount of fiber alone.
One time. Yeah. And I find that sometimes it's going from nothing at all to like 100. It's like, whoa, your body's like, whoa, what are we doing? So kind of easing yourself. But I like the mix. I find that the mix also helps as well. Now, does what we eat also affect our mood or thoughts? Like, do you find, I know we talked about the gut affecting the physical health, but is that also true for our mood?
100%. Yeah. So this is the area where I think is super fascinating. So we have a nerve that connects our brain directly to our gut. It's called the vagus nerve, and it's our 10th cranial nerve. We have 12 cranial nerves. It's number 10, and vagus means it kind of wanders. So it comes from the brain, and then it kind of wanders through, and it has nerve endings going into almost all of our organs. And so the vagus nerve is an afferent afferent, meaning it's a two-way street. It can send signals down from the brain, and it can receive signals up from the gut. And so we traditionally had kind of studied it in med school as like, this is, it sends signals down, and it tells your intestines when they should contract and kind of move and when they can rest. But now we're learning actually a lot of information is going up. So most of our neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin are produced in the GI tract. And so then those are being sent to the brain and to other parts of the body to tell our organs what to do.
So that explains also, does that also explain sometimes when you feel anxious, but you feel it in your gut?
Absolutely. So that is, probably the brain sending a message down of like, hey, I anticipate this situation to be kind of stressful. So maybe you should just empty out down there, or, maybe, you should, you should kind of stop spending so much energy on digestion and start diverting energy into the muscles, because we might have to run here in a minute. So absolutely, that anxiety feeling very much is that gut-brain connection. And in our society now, where we're not being chased by lions and tigers, that's not our biggest threat. You know, we just have this kind of chronic low-level stress. We're creating this environment where that signal's going way too often to the gut. And so that's creating kind of an inflammatory environment in the gut, and that's disrupting the mix in the gut, or creating kind of a dysbiosis, an unhappy scenario down there.
Okay. Now that we know, based on our conversation with you today, that the gut is a big deal. For someone who's watching, all right, doc, we get it. It's linked to how we feel. It's linked to our energy levels. It's linked to a lot of things, our mood, our focus. What are things, and let's talk practical, doc, because I know, easy, practical steps to help with improving our gut.
So the first step, and we talked about this last time, and I'll say this every single time you ask me, or anyone asks me, is we've got to feed the right bacteria. And so you want to put the food in your mouth that is going to nourish the right bacteria, because it's a very diverse population in there. You want it to be diverse, but you want to make sure you're feeding the friendly critters that you want to be there. And those critters that you want to be there, they love fiber. They need fiber. They all day, every day, fiber. 35 grams a day.
All day, every day, fiber. So, doc, when you say fiber, what do you mean?
I mean fruits and vegetables and whole grains and nuts.
Okay, I didn't tell her to say that. We didn't have that conversation. It's funny how it's linked to this. So fiber. For someone who's watching, who's like, oh, so bird food. Doc, that's what you're saying, bird food. We live in Texas, and the food here is bigger, is butterier, it's baconized. It's everywhere. So for someone who's watching, who's feeling like, I mean, you guys are a little too extreme, and where am I going to find these things? Are there any hacks that you have for the beginner in fiber introduction? I don't know what for a beginner level, doc.
So you guys like your chili in Texas, right? Isn't that a whole thing, Texas chili? The beans? Do you put the beans in your chili? Or is that the not Texas version?
Well, yes, and barbecue.
Yeah. So you get some coleslaw with your barbecue. That's all fiber. All right, that counts. So start making those portions bigger than the portion of the barbecue. But I really am a big proponent of legumes or beans. And so those are, green beans. Those include peas. Peanuts are in that category. A lot of different nuts are in that category of fiber containing plants. Lentils, if you like those. Let's see, chickpeas, so hummus. Lots of different bean soups that you could make. So I think that's an easy thing to do and to incorporate into your diet. Black-eyed peas, purple whole peas. What else? The butter peas.
You know what I'm doing? I'm trying to figure out the different types of beans, because I've had people say that beans, like I can't eat the same thing. There are roughly 400 known types of edible dry beans grown worldwide. So there are 400 options to pick from when it comes to beans and legumes and fiber. But I hear you, doc. What you're saying is increase the amount. It doesn't have, we would love it for it to be purely fruits, vegetables, your legumes, your nuts, your beans, your lentils, all the peas, all the things. We would love it to be wholly that, and your whole grains. What we're saying, you can start by increasing the amount. All right. Any other hacks, doc? Because you make it sound easy.
Yeah. So I I play games with myself to try to get myself to do what I want. So one of the games I'll play to get in my 6 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is I'll do a 1, 2, 3. So I try to get 1 at breakfast, 2 at lunch, and 3 at dinner time. And so, that might be berries with your breakfast. Um, and this is just fruits and vegetables. And then at lunchtime, you could have some lettuce and tomato on your sandwich, and maybe an apple on the side, and then you've got a couple. And then at dinner time, you can get that nice serving of beans and maybe some carrots and add in something else. I don't know, potatoes. I guess you could count maybe sweet potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah. Sweet
Just
potato.
make a little game of it. The other game I play is 30. I try to get 30 different types of fruits and vegetables in a week. And so it's just like when I give myself a little challenge, then I'm like, well, what else? What more could I throw on my salad here to increase that? And maybe I'll just add some nuts or something like that. So I just play little games, so it's not boring, and I'm not like, salad again.
That is so good. I like that. And I tell people, serving your fists is one. So look for that, like 6, or with your breakfast, lunch, dinner, a fruit and vegetable. Find creative ways. And even when you eat out, most places have some fruit or veggie option that you can add. So get familiar with your your favorite places to go eat. Like, get familiar with their menu so you have healthier options and you can kind of pick and choose. But the truth is, our gut is talking. We have to listen. And the way you listen is by changing the things and giving our gut the foods that grow the biome, microbiome, like Dr. Katrina would say, those little critters, sorry, not critters, bacteria, viruses,
Critters.
that help us digest our food and help us. They work together with us to help us feel better. Very, very helpful, Doc. Now, what is the connection between the gut health and the immune system? And then I'm going to ask you about more habits before we wrap up. So the gut health and the immune system. So we're fighting infection. Is that included too, or that's no, not really?
Yeah, so it turns out that so I like to, when I'm explaining things to my patients, I kind of use the analogy of the immune system as like your army. And you can't fight the infection if you don't have an army. I can give antibiotics all day, which I use the analogy that's more like selling arms to your army. That's like selling them weapons. But if there's no army, there's nobody there to pick up the guns and fight the infection. And then you have the different specialized cells of your army that are different types of white blood cells. But it turns out that your army goes to boot camp in your gut. So 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your GI tract at any given time, learning who is friend and who is foe. And so it's down there getting exposed to the different types of bacteria down there and learning, okay, this one is helpful. They get to stay, but they got to stay right in here in this tube. But this one doesn't belong. And so then that's the one that I should make my inflammation. I should, start pulling out my grenade and deploying it. What's the word for it? Pulling the pin.
I got you. Deploy your weapons. Yes, you got it. Oh, yeah.
So it's really important to have the right bacteria and fungi in your gut to train your immune system, so then it doesn't go crazy and start attacking the wrong thing in your body, because that's when we start seeing allergies and skin conditions and things like that, and autoimmune conditions, which can be really serious. It's because the immune system is being dysregulated and not properly trained with the right organisms training it.
Mm-hmm. I like how you said that your army goes to boot camp in your gut. So you want to make sure it's properly trained to fight off infections by taking care of your gut. Doc, we already answered this question partly before, as far as foods we should eat. But can we talk about foods or habits we should avoid if we want to have a healthy gut. And be kind, Dr. Katrina, be kind.
Well, I will, and I love sugar and I love chocolate. But the more you eat processed sugar specifically, you are going to select the bacteria that that break down those sugars. And so then they're going to send signals to your brain that say, oh, we need more sugar down here. And so it's a negative cycle. So the more candy and processed sugars that you're eating, the more that signal's going to the brain. And that gets us into the next category of foods that we might not even think of as sugary sweet foods, and that's ultra processed foods. So these are things you can't make in your kitchen because the ingredients in them you definitely don't have in your kitchen. They usually have 7 or more ingredients, and when you read the label, you're like, ooh, what is that? That sounds weird. So those types of foods are packed full of sugar, but they're also packed full of other additives that make us not really feel hungry. So what we don't get is the signal to our brain, or don't feel full. I'm sorry. They make us not feel full. We continue to feel hungry. So we don't get the signal up to our brain that says, okay, I've had enough calories. You can stop eating now. They are designed to keep us eating with the different flavor additives and other, shelf stabilizers, emulsifiers, things like that to keep them nice and still good in the package, but they're not good for our gut. They also often don't contain fiber, or very much of it.
Sadly.
So,
Sadly. Now, for someone who's watching Dr. Katrina, who's like, but I'm a sweet tooth, and that's my joy, doc.
I'm married to one of those. I recommend or encourage you to try to find ways to replace that sugar, that processed sugar, the candy bars and the candy, with other sweet things. And so what that looks like in our household is lots and lots of fruit all over. On the counters, you open the drawer, you see it, you open the fridge, you see it. And once you start eating those sweeter fruits, you start to kind of adjust to like, oh, this is the level of sweetness I need. And then you eat that processed sugar and you're like, oh, this is too sweet. This doesn't even taste good to me. So I have found that, what are they? Are they dates? I think dates are a really great, sweet, nice substitute. They even kind of like have that texture of caramels, kind of.
Yeah.
So I like those as, at the end of the meal, you want that bite or two of something sweet instead of something processed.
I like dried fruit, like dried mangoes, because they're dehydrated, not the ones that are the sugar, and dried strawberries. Oh, they're good. They're good fix. And then frozen grapes. You freeze them.
Yeah, frozen grapes are great. They satisfy so many levels. Dried fruit I love because I can throw it in my bag and carry it everywhere with me. It travels well. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's just there, and it really does hit that spot. So that's a great suggestion.
All right, awesome. So to our viewers, we have given a suggestion. There are little hacks that you could do to make little adjustments to your meals without really breaking the bank or making drastic changes. There's little changes, one at a time, add up, and they make your gut feel better. And as a result, your whole body feels better. So Dr. Christina, we're about to round up. For someone who's watching, who's like, I don't know, doc. I'm not sure my gut can be fixed. It runs in my family. I don't know. I tried the fruit and veggie and I felt gassy and bloated and I farted a lot and I didn't like it. I was embarrassed. Any words of encouragement to the person who's like, my gut has been talking to me. I'm trying to listen, but sometimes I'm like, oh, you talk too much. Any words of encouragement to help me listen well and
I have really term I loved it where this couple, there's a physician who coined this term, I can't remember what her name was, but after each meal, after dinner typically, your husband would go for walks. And what that does is it helps your body digest your food. I think in Europe this is a common practice than it is here. It's also like a nice time to pack fast. You're outside, and, it doesn't matter. So I thought it was such a fun little hack and funny comment of a way that you can manage some of the side effects that are going to happen from eating fiber. So maybe you do your majority of fiber meal when you can take a little stroll alone or with somebody that loves you no matter what after you eat.
Oh, Dr. Katrina, I think you're breaking up, but I think I teased out what you were saying for those of you who are watching. She said walking. I believe she said walking after meals can help with that, can help with regulating your sugars, can help with, yeah, she's cutting out. I know. Hang in there. So no, try and see if you could log out and come back in. It's a little shaky, but I believe I heard you say walking after you eat can actually help with digestion. And we've known that even with those who have, clients who have diabetes or inflammatory disorders, I encourage them after eating, not immediately after, maybe an hour after eating, walking can actually help with your digestive tract. Are you back? Can you hear me now?
Can you not see me?
I could see you. Try. Okay, I could. Well, no, it's frozen. Still frozen. All right. Let me see if she can. Let's see. All right. So she was saying exercise, walking after you eat will help with that. So I think, let me see if she's able to come back up. Okay, let's see. She may join us back. But yes, she said a whole lot. Okay, a whole lot. More fiber, less processed sugar. You could add it with each meal. One other thing I wanted to share actually while she was here, I actually blend I make smoothies. So I have a green powder, organic veggies. I put it making a smoothie. I drink mine. So it's easy to put down. By the time I've drank this with chia seeds and other fruits in there, I've already had 7 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables already. I feel better. I'm able to think better. I have more energy. My skin is better. It costs what it costs. But our gut is talking to us. And I'm hoping and trusting that by listening to this, you have been encouraged to listen to what your gut is saying and actually decode what your gut is saying. It's saying, hey, we need to change something. I'm trying to move away so this eye thing is not in my eyes. Jeez. All right. It's trying to say that you got to do something different so you could feel better. Little changes done consistently. If you make a 1% difference or 1% change in your habit and you do it consistently, by the end of the year, you'd have made up to 30% improvement. Yes, it compounds. So be encouraged. I guess it's not here, but she said a lot while she was here. And I'm here encouraging you. Your life is so precious. What God has created you for is so important. It adds flavor to the world. And so it's important that you stay healthy enough to live it out, to live out that purpose. So here I am, rooting for you as always. Please listen to your gut. All right. And talk to your doctor. Your gut is talking to you and is saying things. Talk to your doctor. Ask for tips on how to do the things, to be the bees, to eat the things. Even with your work schedule or foods you enjoy or your medical conditions, or even when it comes to finances, right? You go to the grocery store, whatever fruit is on sale. Go towards the back, they usually have foods that are, that need to be eaten relatively quickly. You can buy those, all right? But our guts are talking. Please listen. As always, I am cheering you on. We'll be live again next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God. I will see you then. Quick favor, please share with those who could use this. Share with your friends. Share with your friends, and your enemies too. Okay, let's pour us some good in the world. It's always great to have conversations with you. Let me see who's joining live. Carla E111, thank you for joining and for giving us the heads up. I believe Dr. Una was here. Berna, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and a compassionate family physician that will not only see you or treat you like a number, but as the gift that you are to humanity, I am she. Have a good one, everyone.